What's up, dude? Being born in the United Kingdom and spending the first few years of my life there as a child, I can vaguely remember getting up on my tippy toes to get a peek at the British classic my parents would make called Toad in the Hole. I know it's a funny name, there's no toads involved, don't worry. It's basically a giant Yorkshire pudding, or popover as you might know them, with a whole nest of sausages in the middle. You cover it in some top-notch onion gravy and you have a dish that will always hold a set of keys to my heart. It's truly awesome, and as always, there is no time to waste. Now let's go! The first step to Toad in the Hole is going to be making the batter. And for that, we are going to be making the exact same recipe I use for Yorkshire pudding, or popovers as you might know them. And that recipe will be down in the description in both imperial and metric systems. To start, just add 6 eggs to a big bowl. Those are large eggs. Then simply just start whisking them up. Pop those yolks. Want to get these kind of smooth. If your arm doesn't hurt after finishing this batter, you haven't done it right. I suppose if you want to be a wuss about it, you could use a machine. If you don't want to get jacked, you use a machine. All-purpose flour and salt, just mix the two together into a strainer, and we're just gonna sift that through. This strainer I got at an antique shop, so I know it's never ever gonna break. And it's at this point that we really have to take the time to get this smooth. Some batters, lumps are okay, some are not. This one is not okay. This is when the forearm is gonna start burning. Ah! Switch arms, switch arms. There's a thing about whisking. You can switch from using the wrist to using like half of the arm to using full arm, back to half arm, back to wrist, and you can kind of keep going that way. Full body. There we go, nice and smooth, that is what you want. For the liquid, I have whole milk and a little bit of water. Simply just combine the two, and while whisking, just stream that in. I learned this recipe from an Englishman who has been working in restaurants in England for his entire life. The way that these rise in the oven, whether you're making Yorkshire puddings or Toad in the Hole, is just great. It's great. Once all combined, it will look like it's too thin to you, and that's exactly how it should be. Only one thing left to do. And that is to pop a lid on it and let it sit in your fridge for 1 hour. This is an important part of the process. Don't skip it. But fear not, because as your batter rests, there is still more work to do in the form of making an ultra comforting onion gravy, because you can't really make Toad in the Hole without having an incredible gravy to serve with it. I'm gonna start by julienning my onions, nice and thin. These are just yellow onions. And remember, when you're julienning onions, you wanna start at an angle like this. And as you get towards the middle, straighten out the knife. Starting with a little bit of neutral oil into a pot that's on around medium heat. I'm also adding unsalted butter. Once that's all melted, drop in your onions. And keeping that heat around medium, we're just gonna cook these down. After 20 minutes, our onions have got nice and dark. Mine even got a tiny bit black. I forgot about them for a sec, but they're fine. At this point, I'm gonna add some fresh thyme. Optional, but I like that little floral pop. And a whole bunch of all-purpose flour. Whole bunch meaning just 4 tablespoons. So what we're essentially doing now is building a little roux with the fat, the onions, and the flour. And with all good roux, all good sauces, you want to cook out the roux first, which I'm going to do by leaving the heat just a touch over low and stirring pretty frequently for about 10 to 12 minutes to make a blonde roux. And what's really interesting with the roux, as the flour cooks, you can really smell the change. It smells almost like biscuits or something, or cookies being baked. At this point, I'm turning the heat up to medium high, and I'm going to start adding chicken stock little by little. Just a little bit, switching to a whisk, work that in, and when it seizes up, then and only then do you add more. I think the trick to this is just to go little by little. And the chicken stock is just room temp. People say there are a lot of rules about this kind of thing. Only add hot liquid to a cold roux, or only add cold liquid to a hot roux. Honestly, I've tried it a lot of ways. Always seems to work. A lot of Toad in the Hole recipes, you'll see red wine used. I'm not a huge fan, but if you want to put some, you'd want to do that before putting the stock in. You'll also see a lot of people use beef stock. I just prefer chicken here. Beef is absolutely fine. Once all your stock has been worked in, there's a few more key ingredients for gravy. And this one, you might think it's a little weird, but my family has been doing this for God knows how long, and it's just the way I make gravy. It's incredible, and I use marmite, which is a sort of a yeast extract full of flavor, kind of similar to Vegemite, and for me, it just gives gravy that punch that it needs. It's so good. It was honestly hard for me to find marmite locally here. I had to go to like a world market type store, so you might want to get it online. You can always just leave it out if you want as well, no worries. But now it smells like gravy to me. And last but not least, a little Worcester sauce, or Worcestershire sauce. Woo! And of course, some Sergeant Gilbert, reporting for duty, my little friend. That's black pepper, and when it comes to black pepper in here for me, I go heavy. I'm going about 2 teaspoons or so in here. I want a lot of pepper. I love that peppery hit on my gravy, so that's what I'm doing. About 50 turns on the Gilbert. Time to give it a taste. Nice consistency here. God, that really is so simple, but incredible gravy. It just tastes like a family meal to me. At this point, just set your gravy somewhere warm, cover it up, and let's finish this toad in the hole. While your gravy is chilling out, let me tell you about today's very special partner, Rosetta Stone. For nearly 30 years now, people have been turning to Rosetta Stone to build the fluency and confidence they need to learn a new language. Me personally, in my own life, I've always wanted to learn Spanish. And now that I live in Austin, Texas, that is home to a huge Hispanic community, my motivation comes purely from wanting to communicate better with the people who work at Mexican markets. I just thought how cool it would be if I could actually speak to them in their own language, which is where Rosetta Stone comes in, and trust me when I say they make learning a new language fun. Their approach offers a unique and highly engaging learning experience that will help you learn your language faster and retain much more information. Instead of doing it that boring old way just by memorizing translations, you'll learn naturally through pictures, which I personally love so much, as well as hearing the audio from true native speakers, which is really helpful. Another thing I love about Rosetta Stone is they prepare you for real life conversations in the country that you're gonna be in. And from the very first lesson, you will be learning super practical phrases that you can put to good use. The lessons can be as short as 10 minutes, which if you're a busy person like me, that is a really big plus. And the Rosetta Stone app allows you to take your learning anywhere. Some of my personal favorite features were the phrase books, as well as the on-demand videos. I personally loved the one on Mexican slang. Normally, Rosetta Stone would set you back $299. However, you're in luck because Rosetta Stone is currently running a 50% discount on their lifetime subscription, which means you'll only need to do a one-time payment of $149.50. And by the way, that is a lifetime membership, which in this day and age is incredibly rare to pay for something once. I love that about Rosetta Stone. Now let's finish this toad in the hole. Turn on your oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit while we prepare the sausages. Bangers and mash. Bangers and mash. Is that a song? I think it is. And here I have English bangers, which is just sort of a mild pork sausage. You'll see it made with Cumberland sausages sometimes. However, if you can't find English bangers, just use any kind of mild pork sausage. That will do just fine. I'm just using a regular old baking dish for this toad in the hole. If you don't have one of these, you can literally just use a cast iron pan. That will work as well. Or for that matter, any kind of heavier baking or cooking vessel will do. And in order for these to work, it needs to be really hot. So I'm starting by throwing this in a 425 degrees Fahrenheit oven for 10 minutes. Nothing in it. When your baking tray has been in the oven for 5 minutes, set a pan over medium heat. And once it's hot, we're gonna add a bunch of oil. May seem like a lot, but you're gonna need that for the toad in the hole. Sausages going in. Got a little crowded, but it'll be all right. When they're lightly browned, give them a flip. 10 minutes has elapsed. Get your pan out, get all your sausages in, spread them out, and working quickly straight back into the oven another 10 minutes. When you're making toad in the hole or Yorkshire puddings, you want to have everything ready by the stove. Because in order to do this right, you need to minimize the amount of time when your pan comes out of the oven. So another 10 minutes, it's absolutely ripping hot. Space those out a little bit, batter in. And keep in mind, I'm only using 2/3 of this batter. I'm saving about a cup for future use. Now straight back into the oven, no hesitation. Oh my God, there we go. 20 minutes in the oven and your monster is done. Wow. This is insane. Now I'm finishing with some of the gravy. You can absolutely portion it out first before putting this gravy on, but I'm just doing it like this. We're gonna eat it right now. I used 2 cups of the batter for this amount, and it looks good, but I was hoping to get a little more rise along the sides here with this part. But if you make it at home, you may want to just experiment with putting a little less batter. And you know, I've been using this exact same batter to make Yorkshire puddings with incredible results like you see right here. The only difference is I'm in a new place now without a convection oven. Convection just means there's a fan in the oven that circulates heat, and that does make a big difference when you're trying to cook something like a Yorkshire pudding or toad in the hole. So if you have a fan, definitely turn it on. If you don't have a fan, maybe bump up the heat to like 450. And it should work out fine. I'm just gonna serve some up with a little spatula here. Just dig in. This is a Moorish meal, you know? Don't be fancy about this, my friends. We'll just do 1 sausage per serving. Simply just scoop it out onto a plate. And if you're anything like me, you like it saucy, so just add some more gravy to the portion. Coming in for a taste. Oh, you hear that? Ooh, these crispy edges. Oh God, you dip it in the gravy. Always love this. You have this light, spongy, slightly chewy texture with a little bit of crisp. That is just freaking awesome. Get some sausage. I don't know if there's any other dish that takes me back to being a child like this one. It's incredible. Here's my plan for you, Marcus. Try, Pick it up and I'll gravy it for you.
Dude, look how good this pasta is.
You look great, man. You look jacked.
Thanks, dude.
Anything covered in gravy is my thing.
Well, there you go. You know I love you when I'm out.